Well, welcome everyone to Sanctuary Honor. This is one of the toughest honors, but the easiest to achieve. So if you're ready to achieve an honor in a short time, then you are in the right place.
And we are ready, Pastor Obi.
Okay, so one thing I will say right from the beginning, if you forget everything else I say today, remember Jesus. The honor is about Jesus. So maybe I should stop now, Dan. It's finished.
Pastor Obi, I will be very worried if you did that, but I think you did exactly what the good preachers do. They tell them the main point in the beginning, just in case if they lose the track of the sermon. So thank you so much, Pastor Obi.
Okay, let me start with telling you a story then. I think the honor, actually, if you haven't got the workbook, then please do download it. You might find it useful to complete them as we go along, because I'll tell you a lot of stories. I'll ask you questions. But as you answer those questions, you are completing the workbook. And the workbook will also be part of your assessment. So when I come to a point where I ask you to type your answers on the chat, you are being assessed at that point. So please do type your answers, and Dan will make note of those who are giving the answers.
Just to, I'm going to mute everybody, Pastor Obi. So just give me a second and make sure to unmute yourself. For everybody who just joined us, I just want to remind you guys that the worksheet is available for download. And in case you didn't download your Sanctuary worksheet, I'm going to post the link right away in the chat section. So the worksheet is there at the moment. Please just make sure you download it. Also, just to say hello and welcome for those guys who are joining us from United States of America. We had quite a few of them. If I remember, is it today? Today is the 5th of July. So yesterday we missed, Independence Day, which British people do not celebrate very much these days. I'm just joking, guys. Welcome, welcome. Okay, Pastor Obi.
All right, thank you. So here we go. The first requirement. So we're going to go from requirement to requirements. And I believe that as I tell you the story and answer the questions, I'll pose some questions for you to also answer, that we will complete this honor together. So the first requirement says, describe and discuss the events leading to the construction of the original sanctuary that is referring to the tabernacle in the wilderness. My screen. Okay, there we go. Then is it possible to remove, sorry, okay.
We cannot remove you, Pastor Obi, from the top right corner, as that is the presenter's place usually.
No, that's fine. I've got what I'm trying to do.
Oh, good.
Okay.
But certainly.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's at the base now. So what group of people were involved and what were they doing at the time? If you remember the story, everyone remembers the story of God splitting the sea in two and allowing the people to walk through on dry land. That was a miracle. And you know who was coming through? It was the Israelites. So these are the people who were involved, the Israelites. They were coming through. They were coming away from Egypt and heading for the promised land. Well, they experienced a lot of miracles on the way. God was always appearing to them. But then it comes to the point when they got to Mount Sinai and God gave them the commandment. And in their discussion, this is a discussion between God and Moses. God said to Moses, tell the people, let them make me a sanctuary so that I can dwell amongst them. God wanted to be with the people, to stay with them. And when you hear the word sanctuary, you think of a place of refuge, a place to hide, a place of safety. But when God said, make me a sanctuary, he wasn't talking about a place to hide. He was talking of a meeting place. So it's a little bit different. It is a meeting place. So now you know who the people were. It was the Israelites, and they were coming away from Egypt, going to the promised land. So if you're completing your workbook, then those are the information that you need for it. And as you come through to the next requirement, it would say to you to name the three parts of the tabernacle, the three parts of the tabernacle. But before I get you to answer that question, because you're going to answer the question at some point soon, You might be asking the question, who constructed it? How did they design it? Well, first of all, remember that it was God who designed it, because he called Moses and showed him the pattern. He showed him the pattern in heaven. So this is something that already existed, which God made. Moses saw it and copied it. But then God didn't just leave it that way. He also gave him instruction as to those whom he has given the gift and the ability to be able to design and to build it together. Now, if you're making notes, you want to write down Exodus chapter 25, verse 9. Exodus 25, verse 9. And then you write also Exodus 26. What we're going to be talking about and discussing, you will find between Exodus 26 to Exodus 35. Okay? The materials that they had to use to build this very sanctuary actually came from the friends that they made in Egypt. When they were leaving Egypt, they were told to go to the Egyptians and ask them to give them gifts and things to send them on their way as they head for the promised land. So that's where they got all the materials from, the materials that was used in building the sanctuary. Do you know the names of those whom God selected? There are two people that were supposed to be the chief builders, if you like. They were to oversee the construction. Can you type on the chat the two names if you know them? There are two names that were given. God gave two people special gifts to actually oversee this. I'll give you a few seconds to write that down.
All right, Pathfinders, let's write the names down. In case you don't know, you'll find out, but if you do know, it's Caleb and Joshua, they're saying. Is that correct?
No, not quite. Okay. They're close, but not quite.
Okay, all right. They're saying Caleb again.
Not quite.
All right, Aaron.
Try again.
Aaron and somebody else.
Not Aaron. Aaron had a part to play, but he wasn't the one, no.
All right. All right. Pastor Obi, you need to
All right, let me give you the answer so you can write it down and never forget it again. But the names are very strange, so I'm going to try and say it slowly. It is Bezalel. Bezalel, that is B-E-Z-A-L-E-L, Bezalel. And the second one is Oholiab. Oholiab. And those are the two people that God gifted. Let me spell Oholiab for you. O-H-O-L-I-A-B. B for brother. Oholiab. Those are the two special people. You see, we always think of Aaron and Joshua and the rest of, but they were not the ones. God specially gifted these two gentlemen with this gift so that they can help to oversee the construction of the sanctuary. All right, let's go to the requirement number 2. Now that you know those who helped to construct it, name the 3 parts of the tabernacle in the wilderness. You've got half a minute to do it. On the chat, go for it. If you think you know, type what you know. What are the 3 main parts of the tabernacle in the wilderness or of the sanctuary?
All right. Holy and most holy place.
Yes.
Court, holy and most holy place.
Thank you. Well done. You got it right. The courtyard, the holy place, and the most holy place. Those are the 3 key places that you find, segments, if you like, the way it's divided. It's divided into 3. The courtyard, some would say just the court. That's correct also. Holy place and the most holy place. Tell what was in each part. What do you find in each part? Now, when you look at each part, you will find, I have a way of remembering this, 2 in the first part, 3 in the second, and only 1 in the third. Can you guess what is in the first part, which is in the courtyard? You got 1 second to write it. Try that. Let's see how fast you can type. What's in the first section, which is the courtyard? What do we have, Dan?
I'm reading. I'm reading altar.
Yes, an altar. Yes, a little bit more would be help, but yeah, go on. What's next?
Everybody's just writing altar at the moment.
All right. Okay.
Pastor Obi, take us forward.
Let's go. So we have the altar of sacrifice and the laver, the two things there, the altar of sacrifice. If you say altar, you're halfway right, because there's another altar in the holy place, but it's the altar of incense. But this is the altar of sacrifice. So you have the altar of sacrifice and the laver. The laver is like a wash basin. And I'll tell you a little bit more about those two in a moment. Then you go to the holy place and you have three things. The altar of incense, the seven branch lampstand, and the altar and the table of showbread. The table of showbread, the altar of incense, and the lampstand, or the seven branch lampstand. And finally, you have in just one but magnificent object which is found in the most holy place, and that is the Ark of Covenant. Now, we'll describe a bit more about what that it has to do with as we go along. And so in the Ark itself, although it's just one magnificent container, if you like, a storage place, but it has three very important things inside it. Don't forget those three things. The Aaron's rod, the pot of manna, and the 10 commandments written in God's own fingers, as it were. This is what that would look like. So you have the where I'm pointing at, if you can see my pointer, that is the courtyard area. So you have the wash basin or the laver, you have the altar of sacrifice, and then as you walk through and you enter into this section here, which is the holy place, you have the lampstand, you have the table of showbread, and you have the altar of incense. Then you walk through, well, not everyone walks through, but I'll let you walk through with me right now, into the most holy place, and there you have the Ark of Covenant. Tell what each piece of furniture represents. Now, I gave you the answer right from the beginning. People often want to get a little bit more details, but I'll say to you, it all represents Jesus. Now, I can tell a little bit more. Let's start from the beginning. As you enter through the gates of the courtyard, Jesus says he is the way to eternal life. The altar of sacrifice, again, Jesus says he is the living sacrifice. He is the one who sacrificed himself for our sins. The laver, he washes us from our sins. So it's all about Jesus. The table of showbread, Jesus said is the bread of life. The lampstand, he said, is the light of the world. And the altar of incense, wow. He is the one, his own merit is all that comes through in prayer before God. So it's all Jesus. If you cannot write very fast, just write Jesus, 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 and you will get it correct. Okay? What do they all represent? They represent Jesus in different forms and in different ways. The Ark of Covenant, you hear of the presence of God. His character is described in the commandment. So it's again all about Jesus. The mercy seat. Where do we receive mercy from? From God himself, the covering. And then we have the cherubs, those that represent the servants or the angels, the servants of God. Again, it's all about Jesus. Now we come to the point where if we were not online, I would ask you to cut out some papers and do this now, but I'll let you do it later because you need to construct this. You need to either draw or construct. So cut out some papers and stick together. So it says draw or construct a scale model of the sanctuary. I've done something extra for you though. I've given you the scale to use. So I'm going to show that to you in a moment. So, but you can draw it. If you're a very good artist, it will look fantastic. If you're not a very good artist, it will look very good. So whichever way you do it, you're going to draw something that is nice and show that to your club directors.
Also, Pastor Obi, every Wednesday we ask our Pathfinders adventurers to send us photos and pictures of their work So we publish on the BUC Facebook page. So if it's possible, people, take a pictures of those amazing paint drawings and also models, and please send us on this email, dayan@advantage.uk. Try to send us by Tuesday night, and we'll publish it this coming Wednesday, so we can celebrate your work and also show off the world what amazing Pathfinders we have.
That'll be fantastic. Thank you, Dayan. And so if you're going to do that, I tell you how easy it is to do. Just get a piece of paper, 2 or 3 papers of different colors, and cut them into rectangular shapes, square shapes, and you will be able to stick them together in the form of the sanctuary, as you can see on screen right now. Okay, so the dimensions that you probably need, I will show in the next screen, not this one that you're looking at, although this will help, but most of you wouldn't know what cubits are like. So let me take you to the next one. If you're going to draw it or construct it, so look at that for a moment. Where it has 100 cubits, I've used 100 centimeters. 50 cubits, I've used 50 centimeters. That would allow you to draw it and it will look really good. And so notice that this here is the most holy place, and it's 10 by 10. So it's 10 cubit by 10 cubit, but you can draw that then as 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. The holy place is 30 centimeters by 10. So it's a rectangle. But when you look in the Bible, you see God is so particular about the dimensions. So be careful to draw them, to measure them, to cut them in those dimensions. Okay? Well done to those of you who have planned already in your mind that you're going to do that, and then you're going to submit it to Diane so that they can actually publish that for us to see.
Yes, but Obi, also just to remind everybody, in case like if you're now worried, oh, can I write this down quickly? Don't worry, because we will also have this video on the YouTube and Facebook. So in case you have to rewind and come back, you'll be able to find it there. So don't stress, guys.
Yeah, so don't panic. Thank you, Diane, for reminding them of that. And so that's the construction and the drawing. Take your time to do it. It's really interesting. When you do it, you learn a lot. Some of you don't know I'm a math teacher. So if you do it, you're going to learn a lot of maths. And when you get to school and they ask you to draw some scale drawing, you will be doing very good at it as well. And then that brings us to the next requirement. Starting in order from inside to outside, list the covering. What covers the sanctuary? I'm just wondering if you actually know. So I'm going to pause for a moment and give you 1 minute to see how much of it you can remember. What are the coverings? If you can just type it, and then we'll read them out. The coverings.
Let's see what is coming in our chat and also comment section of Facebook. Somebody mentioned goatskin.
Yes.
Okay, so well done, champion. We are waiting for more answers. This might have a lot of details, but we know that you can do it. We're here to learn, so just share in the comments and also Zoom chat section. Okay, people are mentioning scarlet material and few others, Pastor Obi.
Okay, all right. Let's go with it, because I know time is not always on our side, but we'll come back to it if we need to. So here we are. Those are the coverings. I've actually labeled them for you nicely. So starting with the inner royal liner, this is the first one inside. So it's from inside out, and it's made of red, blue, and purple linen. Okay.
And I would just like to point out that our Facebook audience was a little bit better this time, and they mentioned all of that because they're about 7-8 seconds behind the broadcast. So just to say thank you to our Facebook audience, you guys got the right colors and many of the right materials. Thank you.
Oh, well done. Well done. Those on Facebook, well done. That's excellent. And so after the inner royal liner, you now have the goat's hair. I heard somebody say goat's hair earlier on. That is bleached white. Following that, you have the ram skin dyed red, and then the badger skin plain and brown. So those are the 4 coverings in that order. Okay. What do they represent? Well, the inner royal line represents Jesus. I told you from the beginning, it's all about Jesus. Red representing Christ's sacrifice, blue representing his obedience, purple representing royalty, gold representing divinity. The woven goat's hair represents Jesus' perfection and purity. Ram skin dyed red representing the blood of Jesus. And the badger skin the badger skin represents Jesus covering his divinity. Now, in some texts, you wouldn't necessarily find that badger skin. It is translated that way, but I'll tell you more about that later. Sometimes it's difficult to translate the exact word, and sometimes these things are not so clear, but that's the closest we can get to, and it's called the badger skin, and it's dyed also. So that takes us to the next requirement, which is the colors that are used in the sanctuary. There's so much color. You can imagine the rainbow. How many colors are there in the rainbow? I can't quite remember. What is it now, Clifford?
Pastor Cliff might not be able to answer, but
oh, he won't be able to answer. Sorry, Dan. How many colors are there in the rainbow?
That was a very wrong thing you did there. You just moved the question from Clifford to me. There is blue, there is green, there is red, there is well, they're all main colors.
All right, don't worry. It's not so much. It's not part of the honor. I was just checking that people are not sleeping. Yeah. So so even though we have those 7 colors that just been mentioned there are more colors in the sanctuary, more colors in the tabernacle than you can ever think about. And so here are the colors we're looking at. We're looking at red, blue, purple, white. And again, if you want, I said to you before, what do they represent? Jesus. What do they represent? Jesus in different forms and shape. So the first one says red, Christ's blood, blue, obedience, purple, royalty, white, righteousness and purity, black, representing sin. Of course, Jesus washed away our sin. So he took our sin away and laid it away so that we don't have to carry it for ourselves any longer. It's all placed on him, and then he got rid of it for us. And then you have gold, divinity in heaven. You have silver, which is longing desire, and brass, divinity, Christ's divinity on earth.
Also, just want to say once again for everybody in the Zoom chat and on Facebook, you guys were much better than me, and that really hurts. But I'm very thankful that you got all these colors right. And Pastor Obi, thank you so much for telling us what they represent.
Excellent. I love the sanctuary honor students. You're very good. Very, very good. So here is an interesting one. How are we going to learn this together and memorize this? I tell you what I've done in the past is we learn to sing it as a song, but we cannot sing it together. So I'm going to just sing it once or twice for you, the memory verses. And if you can try and practice it, you will never forget them. The memory verses that we have, we're supposed to discuss and memorize them, but we're just going to memorize them. But I'm going to show you how to memorize it. I find it a lot easier when you make them into songs. The first one is Exodus 25:8. And this is how I would sing it to remember. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell amongst them. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell amongst them. That I may dwell amongst them, that I may dwell amongst them, and let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell amongst them. And that's the first one. And if you practice that, you will not forget it. And then we have Daniel 8:14. Now that's an interesting one. Again, I try to make a song out of that one. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. Now you can make that even sweeter. I know you can do better. And then the last one is John. First John, someone's covering my screen. I need to get, that's it. Allow the person in the end so that they don't cover the text. All right, here we go. First John chapter 1, verse 9, which says, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all righteousness. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And that would help you to remember. You will never forget those memory verses any longer. That's what I did. I make them into songs and I can sing them. I can remember them. So Pathfinders, that's a challenge for you. Make even a better song, record it and send it to them so they can put it on the site so that we can all see.
Pastor Obi, many people have wrote, that was a beautiful pastor, a beautiful song, Pastor. So we loved your singing and thank you so much for that.
No, thank you. They are so kind. I'm not quite sure about the singing, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're close to, I told you this is the honor that you get to achieve so quickly with not so much difficulty. The priest clothing, requirement number 7, we're nearly there, we're more than halfway through. The priests and where they're from. Now, I'm gonna pause for a minute or less than that, in fact, because I know most of you already know. Which tribe were the priests from? Go for it. Type. I want to get the names that you have.
Let's see what's happening. Oh, the answers are coming fast this time, Pastor Obi. They are saying from the Levi tribe.
From the Levi tribe. Dare I ask one more question?
I'm not sure.
Why the Levi tribe?
Okay. So now we know it's Levi tribe. Now the question is why? Ooh, now we might need to wait for that one a little bit.
Yes, okay. I think we can wait. We've gained some time. We can get those answers.
Let's just see. Oh, wow, well done. He says they did not bow to the calf.
Very good, fantastic. That is excellent. They did not. Now, however, let me drop something in here for those who have only memorized that aspect. Did you know that Aaron was also from the Levi tribe? And he was the one that collected together all those jewelries and threw them in. And when he was challenged, he said he threw it into the fire and it up and molded itself. So although he was part of making that mistake of building the golden ark, the Bible said when he was challenged, when he realized what he did, it grieved him, he repented of it. And because of that, we have a God who's so forgiving. He actually served as high priest. To go from being part of doing something wrong and then God allowing you to be and to serve as high priest, that is amazing. But that tells you, Pathfinders, sometimes you may have done something wrong, but the God we serve is kind and loving. And if you will ask for forgiveness, he will forgive you and let you also take part. So, well done. It is the Levite tribe. And the Levite tribe were given this great honor because they did not join in to worship the golden calf and to worship idol in the wilderness. I've just put this up for those who want to remember how the tribes are made up. Abraham had Sarah, and between both Abraham and Sarah, they had Isaac. Isaac then had, and Rebekah had Jacob. And then from Jacob, you have Leah, Zilpah, Bilhah, and Rachel. And through them, you have these 12 tribes that we always talk about. Describe the attire of the common priest and the high priest. How would you describe what they were wearing? I'm going to show you the picture and give you some time to describe it in your own words. Now, this gentleman standing on the side here, the one I'm pointing at, that is the common priest. And this one here is the high priest. This is the back view of the high priest. So that's the difference in what they wear, very significantly different. So if you want to write down, you could say that the common priest would wear a plain white linen. But the high priest, and as you can see, what he's wearing here looks like a waistcoat. It's a sleeveless coat, but also he has something extra which he puts on, which is hanging on the coat itself. And that is also very important because it actually has some precious stones on it. Those precious stones, one for each tribe of Israel. He also has two that are hanging on his shoulders, which is the Urim and the Turim. And through those two, the Lord will speak. And when the Lord speaks and they're trying to make decision about something, one of those will light up depending on the question that they're seeking answers for. So their clothes were not just clothing, but they were important clothing because they're significant. They had an important element to what they were doing. I know today we wear clothes sometimes just for fun and for the design, but for them, it wasn't just that. They had practical meaning, practical reason for what they were wearing. And if you look in the Bible, you will find those in Exodus 28, from verse 40 to verse 43. Now, the next requirement is to read and discuss the great controversy, page 488. Now, we're not going to do that now. Or it says, or look at Hebrews 4, verse 14 to 16. And that one we will look at. So take your time to look at great controversy later on. But let's look at Hebrews together. So Hebrews chapter 4, verse 14 to 16. I'm going to read it out for those who are probably listening and might not be able to see the screen quite clearly. It says, therefore, since we have a great high priest who has gone through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet was without sin. Let us then approach the throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our times of need. Sanctuary honor is all about coming with confidence before God, because we know that we have Jesus who serves as high priest. And he's there not without an understanding of what we're going through. Even this COVID that we hear about now, he knows everything about everything that existed that is existing and that will exist. He was tempted and yet did not sin. So he went through pain and everything else, just as we are going through pain sometimes these days. So remember, we come to sanctuary honor with such joy because it helps us to remember that we have a high priest, and that is Jesus. You might have questions, and if you have questions, feel free to be typing them up or make notes of them and type them up at some point, and I'll try and see if I can answer your questions. What kind of animals were brought daily to the courtyard? Now, I know some of you Pathfinders have pets at home. I'm really intrigued to know what kind of pets you have before you even tell me the kind of animals that were brought into the sanctuary. So I want to know the kind of pets you have at home. List them. Type as quick as you can. What kind of pets do you have?
And we are now, we are waiting for the comments. Oh, somebody has, I have no pets at all. Oh, somebody has, I have a fish.
Okay.
All right. Oh, somebody has dog, cat.
Yes.
There is a majority of dogs there, I can tell you that. Does anybody have a llama or something like that? The dogs are winning. The dogs are winning Pastor Obi for sure. Oh, somebody has boat.
Okay.
That must be a beautiful family of. Yeah. So the comments are really between. Somebody said I have lambs.
Wow. I am jealous of the one that has lambs too.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Let me tell you what I have then. I wish I could go and pick up the my rooster now, but I can't because he's a bit active right now, and it will be difficult to bring him back in. But I have a rooster as a pet too, and I have some hens. But my rooster, it's lovely. When I go into, it sleeps inside though, and that's why you know it's a real pet. It doesn't sleep outside. The hens sleep outside. The rooster comes in, because I live in a town where if the rooster crows too early, it will be a problem. So the rooster stays in so that when it crows, it's not my neighbors won't complain. But it's a beautiful rooster. Now, why am I telling you about the rooster? Because I love my rooster so much that I know some people eat chicken, but you won't be eating my rooster.
Somebody actually said, Pastor Obi, that they have a little baby goat as a pet. This is
what, a baby goat?
Yes.
Oh, that is lovely. That is lovely. Now, did you know though that in those days when they had a sanctuary and when they had the practices at the sanctuary, that you had to bring your loved pet and bring it to like those of you have those lovely goats and lovely lamb, the one that has no blemish, the best of all, you bring it for sacrifice. Can you imagine that happening? And you have to bring it, and then it will be no more. After you bring it to the priest. But we thank God we don't have to do that any longer. Because after Jesus came and died on the cross, we don't have to sacrifice at least my rooster won't be going for sacrifice. Even though they didn't use rooster in those days, they used pigeons. And they used some other animals, which I'm going to ask you to list in a moment. But be thankful, Pathfinders, because your pets can continue to be your pets and wouldn't have to be used for sacrifice. Why? Because again, Jesus has paid the ultimate price. We don't have to use animals any longer. Okay. Now I'm going to stop and ask you to give me some of those names that you have, because I know some of you know the names of the animals that were used. I've already mentioned one for you, the pigeon. Can you list the others, the animals that were brought daily to the courtyard for the sacrifice?
Yeah, so the comments coming in slowly, and we're just giving a little bit of time for those who are on Facebook so we can get their comments as well in time. But majority are mentioning lamb, dove.
Yes, the dove is there. Well done.
So these are two main animals. Okay, people are mentioning rams.
Yes, the ram is there.
Bulls.
The bull is there. Well done.
All right. So is there some other ones which we did not mention?
Yes.
Let's just think about that.
Okay. Shall I share the answers now?
Yeah, you can.
All right, let's go for it. Here we go. So you have the bull, you have the young bull, the ram, the heifers, the lambs, the goats, the pigeon, the doves. These were used daily in the sanctuary. But you don't just get one. You have to get one that has no spot, no blemish. If it's hot itself, then it will not be used for sacrifice. If it's got any blemish, any deformity of any type at all, then you cannot use it. You've got to bring the best, the very, very best. Now I've got a quick quiz for you. See if you can spot the one that is the odd one out in this list. Just type it on the chat. Can you spot the odd one?
It's going to be very difficult, Pastor Ovi.
Oh, okay.
Why did you make it so hard? And the chat is now on fire. We will need to call fire brigade to stop this. We need to call Jason, who was teaching the fire safety. So everybody is on the same page. They're saying that the pig is the odd one out.
Well done, everyone. You're right. You would never bring the pig. You wouldn't even touch it. The carcass, even the dead one, you wouldn't even touch. You don't bring it anywhere near to the sanctuary or to the tabernacle. Well done. You're fantastic Pathfinders. I told you you're going to achieve this very quick and very easy, so long as you remember Jesus. So let me take you to the next one. Okay. Again, we have another text, which is to read Patriarchs and Prophets, page 343 to 358, and then write a paragraph or tell how you see Christ represented in the sanctuary and its service. Now I'm going to ask you to do that with your counselors. If you're going to write a paragraph, write it and share that. And also, if you can, write something about how Christ is represented in the sanctuary service and send it to them. If you like to draw that as a diagram, that'd be great, even better. How is Christ represented in the sanctuary?
Pastor Obi, thank you so much for that. Yes, please do send the pictures of your sanctuary drawings or the models. We would love to have that. Pastor Obi, would you be kind enough to explain why pig was the odd one out, just in case that maybe somebody doesn't know?
Thank you so much. That's a very good question. Why is the pig the odd one out? Let me go back to that slide so you can be looking at the pig and see how he looks. Now, here is the pig. First of all, remember in Leviticus 11, God explained to the children of Israel what they can and cannot eat, things that are clean and things that are unclean. The pig is one of the unclean animals. And this is how it is described there. It would say that anything that moves on all four, that is cloven-footed, pats the hoof, and chews the cud. So 3 properties or 3 qualities. If they meet all those 3 qualities, then you can have them as food. They are clean. Okay, let me repeat that again. So the first one is they are cloven-footed. Second one is they pat the hoof or they divide the hoof. And the third one is they chew the cud. Now, when I look at the pig, it doesn't meet those 3. Can anyone guess what the pig doesn't do or which part of those qualities it doesn't meet?
All right, so it's a question for the Pathfinders to answer.
Yes, it is for the Pathfinders now. It is. I'm throwing it back at them. I've answered part of that question, but I want them to see if they can identify what is it that the pig doesn't have in those 3 qualities.
Okay, Pathfinders, make me proud. Pastor, are you able to see the comments?
No, I can't. Sorry.
Okay. Does not chew the cud.
Okay.
Oh, somebody said, Pastor, please repeat the question. Somebody was sleeping.
Okay, let me repeat the question. Thank you. So, first of all, I explained what is defined as a clean animal that is clean, that can be used as food as well. They have to have three qualities if they work on all four. Those three qualities are: A, they must divide the hoof or split the hoof. They must be cloven-footed. You know, the feet, cloven-footed. Some of you, I'm not quite sure how much people know when when these animals are prepared. When you look at the sheep, you have to remove the false feet. It's cloven-footed. Even the chicken has a false feet, for those who don't know. So a little bit of lesson here. And it has to also chew the cord. So chew the cord, splits the hoof, and cloven-footed. Now, which one of these qualities does a pig not have?
Split hooves, they're saying?
Yes, split the hoof. The pig, yeah?
Yeah. Cloven-footed?
It is cloven-footed, yes.
Okay. And Pastor, I think that's all the answers that we have at the moment.
But it doesn't chew the cord.
Yeah, well, that was mentioned already in the first section. So
well done, Pathfinders. And so, because the pig does not meet all these three qualities, unfortunately, the pig is disqualified, and that's why it is not used in the sacrifice. You can only use clean animals, and even among the clean animals, you have to use the best of the clean ones. Any other question?
Pastor Obi, at the moment, somebody did ask one question. I'll get back to you. It was a question about what does the sanctuary represent on this earth in those days? What was that? What was that representing?
Sorry, say that again. Sorry.
What was the sanctuary on earth representing in a bigger picture of God and Israel?
All right. There are many explanations that people sometimes would give, but the best one is always the one that God gave himself. And so when he asked the people to make a sanctuary, he told them why. He said to them, because I want to be with you. I want to show you what is happening, what will happen in the future. So the sanctuary was here as almost like a mini school for us. And where God has his presence and allowed us to see what he has done, what he will do for us in the future as well. So that's what a sanctuary was for us. So like I said when we began, although the word sanctuary has to do with a place of refuge, when God mentioned it, he was talking about a place where he would meet with us, where he will talk to us, where he will educate us. So imagine the things that you have in the sanctuary. You have the commandments, which tells you about God and his character. Can you imagine in the sanctuary, you have the pot of manna reminding you of the glory of God in the wilderness as the children of Israel were coming through and they were fed by God. And he made the same promise that we will eat of this beautiful meal, the manna that comes, that doesn't age. And it comes straight from heaven. What a beautiful promise. And then you have Aaron's rod, which when they had a conflict and there was a decision that needed to be made, God used that to educate them to say, look, I am the one that decides. So the sanctuary was a school, if you like, telling us from the beginning at the entrance, you have the sacrifice that needs to be made. Sin can only be taken away through sacrifice. And so it demonstrated that for them as they kill the lamb, and then they take the blood of the lamb and they go into the holy place, and then they go into the most holy place once every year to cleanse the sanctuary itself. So there's a learning. I think the best way to say it is that the sanctuary really is a mini school, teaching us about the love of God for us and what he has done, what he's doing, and what he will do. Okay. Any other question?
Well, we have a question on the screen. Is that right, Pastor Bobby?
Yes, that's going to be our last question.
Okay, and that's just perfect for us. So let's answer the question. Read it for us, Pastor Obi.
All right, let's go for it. What is your favorite sanctuary object that reminds you of Christ? Go for it. This is your last question, Pathfinders. And after this, the honor is yours.
Okay.
What is your favorite sanctuary object that reminds you of Christ? Can you type that very quickly? And then we will say to you, well done.
Oh, the answers are coming in, and we are so glad. Thank you so much for sharing. Somebody says the 7 candles, the table of showbread.
Yes.
Well, somebody mentioned altar of sacrifice, but
Wow.
candlesticks are mentioned probably the most times. Oh, somebody just said my favorite part of a sanctuary is the lamb. The art of covenant, the ark altogether is so many beautiful, many answers which are very much a very important part of the sanctuary. At the same time, please, when you do draw it and when you do make a model, send us. We would love to post that on our Facebook page. So excellent.
Well, on that note, I'll say well done to you all, Pathfinders, for completing your sanctuary honor. And don't forget.